Hey everybody, this is Colleen Halverson. I was doing some query critiques today, and a lot of similar issues sort of came up, so I thought I might do a little video about my queries. Now, I'm writing a query right now. Writing queries is one of those things, like when I first started out as an author, I thought, like, once I get published, I'll never have to write queries again. But you write queries all the time. It's just kind of part of it. You know, I'm looking for an agent for this new YA sci-fi, and I need to get a query for that. If I'm writing a book proposal for my editor for another line I do, I need to write queries for that. Like, it's just inevitable. So I don't have a lot of time. Obviously, I'm a mom. I work. I write. So I don't like spending a lot of time on queries. So here's kind of like my formula. Now, you could say like, oh, Colleen, this doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for these 50,000 authors either, and I think that's awesome. Like, find what works for you. This is what works for me. This is what allows me to write a query in about 20 minutes. I give it to some critique partners. They give me some tough love, and I fix it until I can't stare at it anymore. So here's how it breaks down. So this is Lila of the Ring. This is like gladiators in space. Like if you like Star Wars and you like the movie Gladiator and they had a baby and her name was Lila, this would be that book. So here's how I start out my queries. So I always start out with the character. Not what the character does or whatever, like their job, but like who the character is on this fundamental level at the beginning of the story, okay? Like for me, it's like all Lila's ever known is the violence of the ring. Like, yeah, like she grew up with a sword in her hand. That's all she's ever known. She's like this bloodthirsty, demon child who just wants to gladiate all over the place, right? That's who she is. And, a little bit about her, na-di-da-di-da. And then, like, I get into, this is the but one. Like, get familiar with the but when, because it will be your best friend in writing queries. The but when is like the inciting incident. It's what transforms, our normal everyday character into someone extraordinary, right? And this is it. Like, everything goes horribly wrong, of course, and, her mother dies, spoiler alert. And then, so you have your but when, and then the character has a goal. Okay, they have something that they want to do. All right, the inciting incident sort of propelled them to, have a goal. Like Lila's just living her life, and now she's like swearing revenge. All right, now the second thing I do, so that's paragraph 1. That's all I do, and then paragraph 2. There's a little bit ha-di-da-di-da. Depends on what I'm writing, like what this sentence might be. If I'm writing romance, I might, focus on the other love interest. But, I mean, there's kind of a little bit, there's sort of a slow burn romance in here. But I do get into this secondary character. It might be a couple of characters. But, he's a mysterious boy named Mason. It's blah, blah, blah. He's got to do some stuff. But then I also get into what Mason wants, okay? Or, whatever a secondary or various secondary characters want. So that's kind of my other thing. And then, and I kind of sometimes I talk a little bit about like what they have to do now, and no, they have to, I didn't do it here because it just didn't quite work, but sometimes I'll do that at this end of the sentence, like, and now they have to work together and put their differences aside because, that's always fun, okay? And then, like, this sentence is sort of like up in the stakes. Things are starting to, get a little hot in the story, right? Like here it's like, well, her mom's spoiler alert, her mom's a rebel spy. She's like, there's this big insurrection. It's not just this like little thing that has to happen, but it's a big thing, right? It's not just like, win the gladiator game. It's, the fate of the galaxy is in the balance, guys, right? So you're upping the stakes. And in this last sentence, this is sort of the important one, right? And I'm still tinkering with it, so don't make fun of me. I know what's going down with it, but basically it's like, all right, something really terrible happens, and you could talk about, I like the difficult choice. I have a critique partner who's not a fan of the difficult choice. I like the difficult choice. You have to choose between this, or this terrible thing will happen. Or maybe it's like, she has to do this thing or else all these horrible things will happen, which is stakes. And that's like your final sentence, is like really articulating those stakes. So that's it. That's my anatomy of a query. It's, again, it may not work for you. It's what works for me. It lets me do this fairly quickly, and move on with my life. So let me know how it works out for you. Thanks a lot, guys.